Hey, what is up, church? Thank you so much for being with us today. We hope you've been enjoying this new Devo series, I Struggle With. And today we are talking about loneliness. I struggle with loneliness. And I know this can be a very difficult topic, especially around the holidays. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to save this one towards the end, because we know the holidays are coming up and some of the most lonely seasons can be this season that's coming up. So let's get right into our passage, and I have a couple of thoughts for you today to hopefully encourage you as we talk about this topic. It says this in Psalms 139, verses 7 through 10. I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I go down to the grave, you are there. If I ride on the wings of the morning, if I dwell in the furthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me and your strength will support me. And so let's talk about what loneliness is. Loneliness is defined as a lack of community or isolation. And the thing about loneliness is we were never actually meant to be alone. If you look back into the book of Genesis, the first man ever created was Adam. And we see Adam in the garden, and Adam is living in perfection. He also has a perfect relationship with God. But despite all of this, God says it is not good for man to be alone. Let me create a helper that is suitable for him. And so the very first man, we see him, he's isolated, and it was not good. Even God says it is not good for him to be alone. And so God gave him Eve, and there we see this community, because we are built with the need for community. And there's several reasons why we can find ourselves in loneliness. The first is, man, maybe you moved. You got a new job, you moved to a new city, you're in a new season. And so you find yourself without any friends or without any real community, or maybe you lost a spouse or a loved one, somebody that you were very close to, and then your dynamic changed whenever that person passed. Or maybe it's you've gone through a divorce, you've gone through a painful season, and those family events and those family getaways and all these things that you used to do, maybe those friends, man, everything's changed, and now you find yourself in a place of loneliness. You know, I think about my own life. When I first came to HPC, it was out of a season of loneliness. And I'll tell you what, it was difficult. I spent about the first year at Healing Place really in isolation and alone. I just didn't have any friends. And I would feel the presence of God move and the Spirit move when I would come. But I would leave and I would just feel like, man, I am missing something. And over time, I began to pray and said, hey, God, I need you to bring some people into my life. You know, one of the saddest things, I tell my wife this all the time, one of the saddest things was eating meals. I remember going to restaurants, sitting down by myself and eating a meal. I do not know if there's anything sadder than that. It was rough. You know, just having somebody to watch the game with or to celebrate with. To talk to you about difficult things. It was just rough. But I began to pray and I said, God, I need people in my life. And the thing is, man, God hears our cries. And he ended up leading me to a small group. And that's my first thing is, hey, if you want to break this season of loneliness, the first thing you can do is find a small group. Find some people that you can do life with. At Healing Place, we have hundreds of small groups. We have men's ministry and women's ministries. We have married small groups. And we have all different types for all different types of people. But the thing is, when we get into a small group, we can get the support and the love that we need. The second thing is join a serve team. I remember coming up here and we would serve in Next Steps. That was the ministry that I served with. And after it was over, we would all go hang out and eat Texas Roadhouse. I mean, how much better is it than that to have some friends and have some rolls with some butter? Come on, somebody. I mean, it was just an awesome time for us to just get to be in community together. So those are the two things you can do is first, find a small group. Second, find a serve team. And the third thing is this, and this is really what I really want to encourage you with, is that God sees you. You know, you may feel alone, but we need to understand that God will never leave us or forsake us. I love the way that the passage ends in verse 10. It says, your hand will guide me. Your strength will support me. And so God will guide us. God will guide us to the right relationships that he wants in our life. And the second thing is it says he will support you. This idea is that he is actually holding you up. And I can't tell you how many times in the season of loneliness that I've faced that I would go to God and I would just be like, Lord, this is what I'm going through. And his strength always gave me hope. It always was like, hey, Ryan, hold on a little bit longer because I got the right people. They're coming your way. You just got to hold on. And so, church, I know that this season that we're going into, if you're dealing with loneliness, man, I just want you to pray. And this is the application I have for you today, is that you would pray that God would guide you to the right people, that he would bring the right community into your life, that you can have support and that you can share life with others who are headed in the same direction as you. I hope these devotionals have been encouraging for you. This is the last one of this series, and we will not have any devotionals Thursday or Friday, so because of the holiday, but you do not want to miss next week. We are starting our new Devo series. It's going to be centered around our 320 series, and we are going to break down the book of Nehemiah. We're going to look at his story in his life and see how it can apply to us today. Church, we love you so much. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for being with us.